You're watching Footy Fantasy. Leadership said the thing will beat your football needs. Banter from rivalries, he sure you go receive. From EPL to Champions League, your eyes go see. It's Footy Fantasy. You're watching Footy Fantasy. Footy Fantasy. Leadership said the thing will meet your football needs. Your football needs. Banter from rivalries, he sure you go receive. From EPL to Champions League, your eyes go see. Your eyes go see. Footy Fantasy. Footy Fantasy.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Footy Fantasy podcast. With me today is Idris and Ray. As you can see, Idris is a Chelsea fan and Ray is an Arsenal fan. They're both not newbies here, but this is the first time they'll be bantering against each other, so I expect some fire. I'm just here to, moderate. Please, no crossfire, no friendly fire. I'm everybody's friend today, though I might also be dishing some fire myself. This is Footy Fantasy. We're here every Sunday, same time, usually an hour before this. Today we started an hour later. We are on YouTube at Footy, Footie Fantasy, on Instagram as at Fantasy Footy, on Twitter at Footy AD Fantasy. Unfortunately, we have this different what's it called? Headings, or what do you call it? I forgot the word. It just slipped out of my head. Handles, exactly. We have this different handles because the ones we want were already taken, and we're still trying to get those. But if you're watching live on YouTube right now, please do like, subscribe, drop your questions, comments. We will pick them up as we go. Same thing with Facebook. This is linked directly to Facebook. On Facebook, we're also Footy Fantasy. So I'm sure some people are watching on Facebook and leave your comments. One very important thing about Facebook is when you drop a comment on Facebook, please leave your handle or your name after the comment, because Facebook comments come through as Facebook user. Your name doesn't come across from Facebook onto this platform. So just wanted you to know. So let's dive straight in. Big match of the weekend, Chelsea versus Arsenal. Was that the most boring game I've seen in a while, or was it just two teams that are just two big heavyweights defensively and not too much to it? Or was it a really, really good game? I'm just asking a question. I'm not making a statement. Okay, Ray, since you're nodding your head, you seem to disagree with me, so I'll start with you, Ray.
Yeah, thanks. I don't think it was a boring defensive game. I think it was a tactical and kind of nervous game a little bit. I would say Arsenal, obviously, we've been sort of struggling to take control of games. I'm putting this very lightly, but to take control of games and move the ball quick enough. Let's just put it that way. And so, and Chelsea's actually been playing pretty well, the last couple of games. So I would actually say Arsenal, relative to where we've been, I think we actually did a lot better than I expected we would beat, and we actually were able to keep Chelsea at bay relative to their strengths. Again, the first half of that game, we were able to keep Cole Palmer quiet for the most part, although there was a couple of minutes in the first half where now we start to let him run at us, which is problems because they get a free kick and anything can happen. But generally, I'd say it was a pretty cagey. I think Arsenal did do their job to stifle what Chelsea would do, which is, from my experience, is usually like on the counter-attack. They're very fast on the counter. We did a good job of that. We just, again, it's that lack of quality and conviction in that final third that Arsenal is still missing. A lot better than before, obviously, with Odegaard back. You can see some of those is plugged into that system a little better. It's still not quite up to scratch, but you can kind of see a difference there. But again, I think ultimately it's just that lack of conviction, because I think Arsenal could have actually won this game. And maybe he might not agree with me, but Chelsea did have some good chances, yes, but Arsenal did have some good chances where, again, that lack of conviction is like you didn't just, almost like they put the ball in and hoping someone would get a foot in, as opposed to go with the conviction and then you get that in. There was probably 3 chances like that, and then 2 offsides if you add those up. Not saying offside is a goal, but I'm saying in terms of the conviction side of Arsenal. So overall, I think a 1-1 is a fair result, to be honest. Because again, the second half, same thing. It was just that one moment of brilliance. You could see as soon as that pass was laid onto Neto, I knew what was happening, because you don't leave that kind of space. And again, Arsenal just been struggling to get that compactness. They don't have that. Again, I think just from over the last couple of weeks, things have not been going their way. We can get into the details later. There's just that extra conviction that Arsenal doesn't have that they had last season. That when we want to score that goal 1-1, I think 1-1 is a fair result in the grand scheme of things. But I think Arsenal did play better than they've been playing over the last couple of weeks.
Okay. I agree with you in some parts. Disagree in one or two. I agree. I still have some very good chances. I wouldn't say they lack conviction. I just say the Martinelli chance was a good save. He had to hit that ball fast, so he didn't have too much of time to pick a spot, because he could have gone down to the keeper's near post, but he went to the far post. He was trying to maybe fool the keeper, so that was a good save. On the other chances were half chances, so I wouldn't really say it was lack of conviction. Personally, I noticed something, just replying to what you said, was that Chelsea have become very good at doing tactical fouls. They're actually very, very good at it, because there were a lot of tactical fouls. Like, Cucurella had a couple, Caicedo had a couple, where they stopped an Arsenal attack by just taking the man out. Just took the man out. It was like the way Cucurella was playing Saka all game was, you're not going past me, and so it was a very they played a difficult team. It was a very physical midfield. That's what I saw. Idris, what do you think?
I think it was a very even, balanced game, to be honest with you. I think it was a highly tactical game, as Ray said. I honestly think it was overthought. Let's put it that way. Ray, I'm sure you're reading the comments. You're seeing that.
Oh no, ignore the comments for now.
We're gonna put the comments up. Sorry, I'm trying to get better lighting here because of I'm having rays coming in. Coming, or maybe it's even Ray sending rays to my. I don't know. No, but legit, I think this was a very tactical game. I think it was overthought by both coaches. I think Arsenal just started like this season a bit kind of like inconsistently than they started last season. I think everybody has been inconsistent to a large extent this season, aside Liverpool. And Liverpool has only been the club that has been like, we didn't expect them to be this consistent, let's be honest. Is it a new manager bounce? Yes. Do I think they'll be found out very soon? Absolutely. We just have to wait. As long as they just don't run away with it, I think they'll be found out very soon. But they've also won stuff. They have a good amount of players to keep it going, which is kind of like similar to what Arsenal has. Arsenal might not be playing as good as they played last season because everyone is used to their efficiency, their ruthlessness as of last season. But then you're now starting to see some gaps, because I actually do think people have kind of figured them out a bit. They've been able to kind of like sideline Saka as much as possible. Odegaard is their only creative outlet that we all know per se. Kai Havertz is going to be contributing at some point. But for us from Chelsea who know Kai Havertz, he can just go missing. That's what he does, for a very long period of time. But for now, it's working. But when it comes to Chelsea, Chelsea is a difficult team to beat. The way we play, the way we attack, the way we defend as a unit, it's a difficult team to beat. But again, it's also potentially an easy team to beat because they're very naive. Like majority of mistakes we make, majority of the goals we consider from mistakes. You can totally see it. Like it's like this guy had a brain fart, nothing more. You can't really say the guy was a bad player. You can't really say throw this player away. He just had a brain fart, and there are many of them that will have brain farts like that around Chelsea because they are actually very young. They are not very experienced in dealing with such high level of consistency week in, week out. So for me in this game, I know Ray said they will have won. I doubt we could have easily had 3 goals in this game. Easy. But story of Chelsea. The miss, the non-Imadueke head nodding that goes sideways. The miss from fucking open net miss from, I'm trying to remember,
Gusto.
Gusto. Like that Gusto's miss, there's always one in Chelsea's locker every game. It doesn't matter whether we are playing a five-a-side team.
And the Wesley Fofana miss.
Yo, you remember that exactly. So those kind of misses for Chelsea, we have one minimum per game. So which means if we play Ikorodu FC local government tomorrow, Chelsea will miss that chance. It's just normal. So when you look at those kind of things, it's Chelsea building into what Chelsea is supposed to be. And I think, in all fairness, it just happens to we happen to meet a less effective Arsenal. You know what I mean? And it just makes the game very tactical, because it's kind of like we know these guys who score, they will create chances, and Arsenal has to play in such a way that actually keeps them in the game, right? And Chelsea knows Arsenal. So for a lot of Chelsea fans, they don't want to believe Arsenal is better, but right now, I hate to say this, Arsenal is just playing way better than we are in the last 3-4 years. And we haven't won this tie, I think, since 2018 or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, you haven't won it in 6 years, yes.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's kind of like I don't okay, it's a family.
No, it's not please, it's not ridiculous. I mean, stop that, it's just ridiculous, because your team has in the past 6 years has been an almost relegation team. How many managers have you had up down? Like, how many managers have you had in the past 6 years?
Bruh.
And then you bought I don't know whether that guy's
almost 6 managers.
Transfer roulette. Your chairman is playing transfer roulette, so it's not ridiculous.
We don't even know who our chairman is. We think we know who our chairman is. We just realized, like, there's a what's it called?
There's a coup. They're trying to do a coup in your club right now. So it's nothing ridiculous. Actually, to be fair, Chelsea is even doing better than they should be doing.
I agree.
There's a lot of ridiculous stuff going on off the pitch. On the pitch, it's less ridiculous.
It's a crazy club. It's genuinely, sorry, I'm just gonna move a little bit out of this light. It's literally a very crazy club that always has drama. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it is, but I think the entire atmosphere is so toxic that we're so used to it that the moment we're not toxic, we're really worried something bad is gonna happen.
No, you guys are paying the price for financially doping 20 years ago.
Oh, please. This financial doping thing, you know, I'm one of the people that have been fighting that argument for a very long time, right? I've always felt that, like, bigger teams have always financially doped back in good economic times. And many people actually always say when Liverpool as a city was the largest shipping manufacturing company, and they were running away with the trophy. But they run away with the trophy because the people in Liverpool had better players. No, they run away with the trophy because they had financial capacity to attract the best players in the world to Liverpool. Same thing happened when Manchester United days came in. You know, same thing happens now with City. At the end of the day, you just accept it. The game is about money. Money is what it is. You can make it as fair as possible. But I don't financial doping, please. I'm sorry. I just think, hey, I'm a capitalist at heart. If you can spend, spend. If you can't spend, buy your broke ass and do something else.
I'm just laughing because if this guy was a Luton fan, he'll be saying something else. But just keep spinning. Just keep spinning.
Till Luton gets the new sugar daddy, and all of them are not like, yay, like Newcastle. Look at them, they're like, they're like, spend down money.
I've seen it. Yeah, there was that Newcastle fan that used to come on this show, Raji. I remember when he was basically singing a different song, and now they have the money. He's not crying about them not having the opportunity to spend it.
I don't want to hear that, man. Everybody just talking. Yeah. We can make it as fair as we can, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's right. Fair enough. Yeah, I also kind of agree that it was a very tactical game. Thinking about it, if every team scored their chances, it would have been 2-2 or 3-2.
3-3, yeah.
That kind of game. But Chelsea carved out some good chances. They didn't take it. Arsenal had some potential chances. They didn't take it. That offside was just so minimal. They were unlucky because that was some quick thinking. That was some real good
thinking. Very quick thinking. And that also shows the naivety of the Chelsea kids. Like, look at how far off they were from the guy that just walks away, you know, to like turn and take the ball.
But let's be fair to them, though. Let's be fair to them. that's the thing about referee consistency. I'm not trying to blame the referee because the rules are actually very clear that if the referee blows the whistle, the team can play, and the referee also does not have to blow the whistle. He can give the team permission to play
Motion,
because
yeah.
it's a free kick, and so he doesn't have to impede he doesn't have to take an advantage away from the team that has the ball because they're getting a free kick because they were fouled. So, but what happened in that chance was that the Chelsea players were expecting the referee
Blow the
to
whistle.
make it clear that
It is again. It comes down to naivete of the Chelsea players and experience. If Thiago Silva was there, that's not happening. It's like focus, focus, focus. Get yourself. We have the average. Geez, I mean, the oldest guy at that back line is probably like 24 years old.
no 26.
Who is
Cucurella. Cucurella.
sorry? Yeah, Cucurella 26.
Yeah.
Like majority of them are like Fofana,
Yeah, the 20, 21.
Colwell, Gusto, Casiedo, Lavia. Like there's a tendency to switch up. They're very good players, but there's a tendency not to pay attention to those little things that you're saying. And when you were saying like, oh, we were doing tactical fouls, nah, they were just running into players and getting stupid yellow cards. They are not that mature. Trust me. We watch them week in, week out. They do things and you're just like, but why now? Why? Like why? They honestly just get into the ball a tad bit late. They are probably like, well, fine, maybe make up my mind if I won't let him go, even if I lose the ball. But it also comes from you were supposed to have been aware, you know what I mean, before that would happen. But I kind of give them credit for fouling away from the final third. So that I can say.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. It's very rare to have a Chelsea and an Arsenal fan talk about a Chelsea versus Arsenal game, and you're both saying the same thing. It's like, I'm wondering if I'm on an alternate reality of this podcast. This is not usual. But
I'm guessing you got two reasonable people on the podcast. That's why.
I can also throw a wrench.
Whatever, yeah.
Okay.
Let me throw a wrench in there.
Hold on. Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me show you a comment. Since you're talking about two reasonable, let me take one comment. This is from Oga Kwame. He says that Idris is an Agbero and Ray is a fake gentleman. So, are you sure you guys are so reasonable, or is it just that you're just reasonable today?
Don't mind Oga now. Oga's their assistant coach has won a couple of games. And
he has appeared all of a sudden. He has found
all of a sudden, you know what I mean, with all this confidence and stuff. So this weekend, everybody got something, except you're like a City fan.
I'm talking about that. Ayo dropped a comment. He wants to, remind you guys about something. Ayo says, shout out to all the 3-point collectors. So if your team got 3 points this weekend, put your hands up.
Oh no, you know one thing. Ayo,
hands up. If your team got 3 points,
let Ayo go and sit down. Ayo should be ashamed of this comment because out of every other dogmatic podcaster and radio host, Ayo swore by ideology. They fired the bald-headed nincompoop who will die by a specific Sharia kind of like football, and then ends up with his assistant. That means he was never listening to his assistant all the time. Oh my God, like it's ridiculous. It was obvious that this guy refused to take advice on the bench because it's the same players, the same club. Come on, man. Different style of play. Like, what a talent.
It might be that this guy was playing around football. It might also be new manager bounce. You'll never know.
Nah. If you watch, come on, you watch you guys play. United played in a very bizarre form. You always knew the game.
You know what, Idris, let me interrupt you. We're going to pause Man United. We'll come back to them. Let's come back to them. We'll take some time and come back to them. We'll make some time for Man United today since we're all here. And so let me take some comments, right? And then we will then dive straight into the next one. So, oh God. Before we even started the show, Jola came to drop this one. Ogapame said, I don't even know who's on the panel. I'm here to chat shit.
He's doing rude boy things. It's okay.
Yeah, then he says Idris is Chelsea's chairman. Make that they play. That's quite true. I believe it's perspective because the kind of excuses you make for Chelsea, but Ayo says that 1-1 was a fair score line. Maybe Chelsea could have nicked it. Yeah, they could have had
I
that
think so too.
chance. Yeah,
I think so too.
it was a tight game. And then okay, Ogakwame says that about the coaches. He says there are two Pep disciples refusing to open up their own church. Be like saying that Ten Hag, the coach both of them. No. I have to disagree.
Relax.
No, no, no,
I have to relax,
Hey,
bro. Relax, bro. No. If Ten Hag coach anyway, like these two guys are coaching, you still have a
they'll be
job.
relegated.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really it.
I think there's one more from Oga Kwame about Sancho. He's injured.
Okay, yeah. He said, "What's up with Sancho?"
He's injured.
No, this is it says Ogakwame says it is what's up with Sancho. This is an internal Man U gist.
I know. He wants to bring out he's injured. He has racked up more starts in first 10 games for Chelsea than his entire years in United. Let it go. He's just
That's
injured.
that's why we're glad you can have him. Take him and his
We
wahala.
will take him. Don't worry. We will take every weekend.
He will soon go to the mountain for you guys and spend 3 months. So quickly, let's dive into Arsenal. The question here is: has Arsenal become too ultra defensive? I'm going to kind of start create like a baseline for this discussion. Arsenal have always been defensive. They have the meanest defense in. They had the meanest defense in the league last year, and they had one of the meanest defenses in the season before that. They don't have a very mean defense right now, but in the past few games, they've become more of a defensive team because what they always did was they scored goals. They just didn't let you score. But it's looking more like Arsenal are becoming a team that's more concerned about not conceding versus scoring. It's like, so Ray, what do you think about that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these things, I know these statements are always like, I think they're overly simplistic and reductive, but if you want to understand, I think with Arsenal is like a system, Arteta believes in the systems. So one of the reasons last season, especially, probably last season was probably the best in terms of what I've seen from Arsenal play, best balance, maybe I put it that way. Last season, what it is like Arsenal has the what they did well last season is like with the high press, they suffocate teams home or away. So they even from the front, essentially they defend from the front, so to speak, where like you had Havertz and Odegaard leading the press so that, most likely the team might create a turnover or whatever it is. And then they didn't let teams get out of their own half, and they just constantly created opportunities, or at least constantly created control and domination of the game. And that worked towards, obviously, and then eventually, the Sakas and all those guys are scoring goals. And that's why even some last season, you see some teams, West Ham's 5-0. It's like 3 goals in 20 minutes, but it wasn't 3 individual fantastic goals. It was 3 goals of consistency and breaking down. And, sometimes with football or as anything, it's a belief thing, right? So if you can do it and the team, there's a fear. Next, the moment you score 1 goal, even let's say, we just beat some guys 5-0 last week. Next thing those opportunities create themselves. So that's what we did very well last year. So now back to this season. I think what the mistake Arsenal made, I don't know if I talked to us on the pod last year, was this transfer window. I don't know what we're doing. I think we did something good, the last 2 windows where we built off what we had, like the first 2 years ago when we sort of challenged, kind of, not really, but nobody expected it. So they were free flowing. Conceded goals, but they're free flowing. But what did we do in the summer? We got Declan Rice, give us some solidity, built off that. And then next season, we challenged City and went all the way to the last game of the season. And then this time around, there's, even with last season, there was some glaring positions where you're like, okay, we need a left side 8 because we didn't really replace Saka. We need, some cover in the back, and we definitely need we need a striker, like a gunman striker, and even like a left forward. So. And then even the summer, the question with most Arsenal fans was, do we go with the striker or left forward? Obviously, if it was up to me and money was not an issue, you get both. And that's why there was the Nico Williams chat in the summertime. And because, again, to get yourself that extra one, it's like you already went against this juggernaut team. You need something new, something fresh, so that the players can still maintain the level they were and even step up. And I think that's the mistake we did. We didn't do that. We didn't get any of them across. There's Gurkers. There's all these players that we could have got. Again, I know FFP. I'm not a finance person, so I don't care about all that. All we need to is get somebody. Didn't do that, and now we ended up getting Califieri. We needed to cover because a couple of our guys can. And then Marino. Okay, they were just more squad players for me. We needed that extra quality, and we didn't do that. And then this is basically that was just like assuming everything was the way it was in the other season. We sold a couple of players, Smith Rowe, Nketiah was great, but then we didn't spend the money. So again, we were like, you're supposed to improve, right? And then so we had a thinner squad, more defenders, and so and then we got that loan from Raheem Sterling, which is probably the worst. There's good things alone. So I don't want to disrespect Sterling's legacy, but what I've seen so far, either Arteta trusts him and uses him and plays to his strengths, or just please send back to Chelsea at the end of the summer. Like that's no. It's a loan, right? It's a loan, so he's back. It's a loan. It's a loan. Like,
I'm gonna change tone. He says it's a loan.
There's no conversation, man. It's a loan. Just
send
back.
To where? People with Chelsea will run. It's
a loan, bro.
Unfortunately for Chelsea, you're going to swallow that 325k per week.
It's a loan.
You're going to swallow it.
It's a loan. Sorry, I know I kind of rambled a little bit, but the point I'm trying to make, and then you had things like Odegaard getting injured, and Odegaard is such a key part of the way Arsenal plays that, and then we had to. But there's nobody in the team, on the typical team, that has the same profile or also does what he does. So he presses, but he's also able to hold the ball, make that quick turn, release the ball, and then obviously the work rate. The closest person stylistically, not necessarily the quality, is Nwaneri. And every Arsenal fan, most Arsenal fans that I know, yes, he's a 17-year-old kid, but we've seen enough of him to, like, especially after a few games, to just give him a start, even if it was like Bournemouth or something. Give him a start there. We're not asking him to start at Chelsea. But Arteta, I think this season to answer your question, like long-winded way of saying that, I think he is overly conservative. And I think in a way he's kind of like, I feel like he's actually disrespected the Premier League personally, because I think what we did well was didn't give teams chances, and then we put things in place. Now this time around, he's like trying to stop teams and then create that one chance. And I don't know, maybe because he had a thinner squad, so he's trying not to have all these tissue injuries and just kind of like wait to get that one chance and then hold back. And then all the injuries and all the red cards, all that didn't help the situation. So
I think you've hit the point. Yeah, you've hit a point that's very important with the Arsenal issue is looking from the outside. When you're doing squad building for a team, you usually look for your strongest points. I kind of call them your weakest points. Why I'd say that is because, like, if this player is indispensable to your team, that's your weakest point. He might be the strongest point, but that's your weakest point, because once he goes, your team is going to suffer for it. And there are two players in Arsenal at this moment that do not have any replacements. There's nobody that replaces Saka. That's why Saka plays all the time. And then Odegaard is the other one. Arsenal seems to be able to play around the other positions. If Saliba goes down, they already have Calafiori. They can bring Ben White in. If what's his name, Gabriel goes down, there's also Timber. You've got, like you said, a lot of center backs. You can shuffle. What's his name, Rice to cover Partey. Like there was a time last season Partey wasn't playing. You guys were still doing well. But if Saka goes down, I don't know who's subbing him, who's coming in for him. And that kid has played so many games that it feels almost inevitable that at a point he will get either burnt out or he will.
Didn't he get taken out today? He was injured today.
Yeah, the second half.
Yeah, and we don't know how long.
He'll be back for Nottingham, don't worry.
Yeah, because that's not the first time he's been taken off for injury in the past how many months. Yeah. It's been happening almost every month now. He gets taken out. Yeah, because he's played so many games in the last 3 years. He hasn't missed a game.
Yeah.
So, and there's no sub, and then the other part of it is what Oga Kwame just dropped in the comment, which is the striker issue. Oga Kwame says, Ray, what do you say to the argument that Arsenal never really needed a striker? Quite frankly, goal scoring has never been a problem for you. I think Arsenal need a striker, but Ray, I want you to answer that question.
You know what's funny? Like, I used to have the same opinion exactly because to be fair, if you look at the stats until the last couple of games this season, goal scoring wasn't necessary because it was more of a system approach. But that being said, if for what Arsenal was trying to do the last 2 seasons, I'm not sure about this season, which is compete for the league, you have that, but you also need a striker or something that in case. So you either have him as your focal point and then do what City's doing with Haaland and just make it work, or you have someone that those games, because the Premier League is unforgiving. Sometimes you're gonna have off days, like some games, like said, Odegaard's injured, Saka's injured, but we just just and then just lump it, get a long ball, get that 1-0, go home. And so you have Havertz where it's like he's not a striker like that. So if Havertz does and he misses, and then all the Arsenal fans lose their head, oh my God, Havertz is da. So I think it's part of the squad build. See, perfect example would be more like, say, like Liverpool, when they were, they're competing now, but those years they had squad players that did their role. So right now, even if you didn't go for that gunman and you just got someone whose job is to score goals off the bench, we don't even have that at Arsenal. Like literally, it's Kai Havertz and who's the backup striker, Gabriel Jesus.
Gabriel.
This guy has been hasn't scored a goal. He hadn't scored a goal almost a year, and it's unfortunate to see the regression that the Gabriel Jesus that Arsenal signed to the guy. The guy now can't even hold on the ball, even when they ask him to play right wing. Just hold on to the ball, bro. Like our expectation for Jesus has dropped so much. First, it was like he wasn't scoring, but okay, yeah, he's not a striker. He creates opportunities. Okay, cool. We let it slide. We're winning. And then all of a sudden, even that, he can't do that anymore. And he comes on the right wing for Saka today. And what did he do? This guy can't even hold on the ball. Like, just hold on and let's see bring the other team into it. Just losing the ball, doesn't run back. So when you add all that together, right? So now I feel like I'm more in the camp that if we're gonna play this sort of haram football, if Odegaard's injured, then just go get a striker so that he will be the one to get the goal. We'll play 1-0 useless football and keep it pushing, right? And I think that's now I'm really confused because I don't know what. Anyways, I don't know. I know the building blocks are still there, but because Arteta's done this sort of overly conservative, so then I'm a bit confused because you're not.
I have a question for you, Ray.
Go ahead.
I have a question for you, Ray. How many injuries do you guys have this season?
Like now or just in general?
I mean, just this season. I know Odegaard just came back.
I mean, it's all different times. So we had Calafiori, Timber at some point was actually out when we needed him. Tomiyasu, he's actually one of our better one-on-one defenders. Did you count Odegaard? So let's just say at any given time there's 3 key squad players. Let's put it that way. That's probably
so. And every time you've had to have a sub, did you notice a significant drop in quality when the next person comes in?
In terms of the injuries?
Yeah. So imagine obviously Odegaard, we know he's going to create. He literally showed us at Chelsea. He was a problem with some of the chances you guys were creating. But if he was not there, you guys would probably have to go side to side again and all that, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I'm asking this is as you were talking, I was looking at Arsenal's goals scored this season. You're not lacking goals. I don't think that's the problem, in all fairness. And I can see why people can feel maybe you don't really need to spend 100 million on a striker. But I also kind of agree with you and Gucci, where you got to the point where you said if you've pushed City to that point, the next thing to do is build on that thing that you have. Because when the games you've lost are kind of bizarre losses to Brighton, Bournemouth, you know what I mean?
Chill with the Brighton. Brighton's a good team.
It's a good team, but for Arsenal that
exactly,
they're not the same level. Arsenal is
no, I don't think Brighton beat Arsenal, by the way. I think it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, Brighton did.
It was Aston Villa.
Sorry. You tied with Brighton.
This season we beat
this season was Aston Villa.
Then Bournemouth, you lost to Bournemouth, and then you lost to Bournemouth, and then you lost to Newcastle.
Yeah.
And Newcastle's in the same position.
Bournemouth, excuse me.
Yeah, Bournemouth and Newcastle. And both teams, I mean, Newcastle itself is also going through its own fluctuation, right? Because they were supposed to be building on whatever they did. I just think with the amount of changes of coaches, a lot of people and a lot of teams adding to their squad. I honestly just think Arsenal got found out. I'm sorry. You've dealt with injuries. You just got found out. I don't think they're really a defensive team. I think they have a good defensive structure. And everyone that thinks that like you have a good defensive structure means you're playing defensive football. I completely disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the part that I realize Arsenal does not have or they are struggling with is creativity. And I think what you're expecting from Kai Havertz, and that's the thing again, I don't think Kai Havertz is a 9. That's why we sold him from Chelsea. He's not a 9. He's the guy that just plays in the pockets. Like Cole Palmer is what we wanted Kai Havertz to be. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. That was what we hoped Kai Havertz would be because of the way he moves, he's fluid, he's nice in the pocket. You still need a finisher. And I think you also need substitutes for those players like the Sakas, the Odegaard, should they go down. You need somebody that can maintain that level, and then your actual quality doesn't dip and drop. Chelsea's problem was when we bought players, if one of our players, creative players or anything goes down, like Kante goes down, the next person that comes in is like, when we're doing FIFA ratings, this guy is 95%. The next person that comes in gives a 50-something percent, like output. And you just like, you could totally see the drop in quality and everything. So I think that's where Arsenal is suffering from. I personally don't think they're a defensive team. They hold the ball well. They'll counter. They're not afraid to play long balls. They'll counter you. They're not afraid to take you on the wings. They're not afraid to cross. They're not afraid to play through the middle. It's not working for them in the last 4 games. They've lost, tied.
And to summarize this or to end this, I'm going to say that Arsenal have also been unlucky.
Yeah.
In the past 4, 5, 6 games where they've had that run of not winning so many games, they've had tight losses and losses that were, like the loss to Inter Milan.
They're just
unlucky.
unlucky.
It was unlucky. It was a lucky penalty, and you wouldn't say Inter Milan were the better team. You wouldn't say that for sure. So they've had, I think they flatlined. That's not a kind of hit what I think I would say about City, but I think I would also say the same about Arsenal. City have hit a plateau.
For now.
It's what happens well, for now, but right now they're on the plateau. And
they're still only 3 points behind Liverpool. So all this.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that their plateau, they're a very good team, so their plateau would be high. But they've got players that have hit the top of their, what you call the top form. They don't have too many players developing. There are not too many players in that City team that you say, I know that they peak. And what happens after you peak? You start going down. So City is also one of those teams that needs to start refreshing some positions, which they do very well, by the way. Because once Pep notices this, by the end of the season, he'll move some players.
January.
Exactly. So when you have sugar daddy mommy,
you say things like yalla, maybe like it's like hurry up.
Move this guy.
So I think the Chelsea Arsenal issue is they need to make some bold moves in the transfer window. They need to,
and they've just lost Edu, and that's going to be a significant issue.
Well, and you know why Edu left? Edu left because of the lack of investment.
Oh, for real? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's one of the main things that they kept saying, that Edu was disappointed with Arsenal not spending money in the summer. But
then was this also at the same time he was negotiating his contract? Because I feel like I agree, but I feel like that's transfer market by Arsenal makes sense now that Edu's leaving. Because honestly, it was such a bizarre, and I know, yes, over the years Arsenal doesn't do this, they don't build, but they were doing it for 2 years, and then all of a sudden they stopped. So I feel like there was something funny going on, and I think it was probably and then meanwhile this guy was also negotiating.
He also wanted to become CEO.
And he's like, look, I'm already negotiating contract. You guys do what you got to do. I'm going to do. Because I remember the news about Edu came out like August or something. This was still transfer window period. And then they quickly shut it down. Not Olympiacos or the same person. They shut it down like it was rumor. And then now it's out. So, when there's smoke, there's fire. So I agree with you, but I feel like there was also, how it is. Look, if you're talking with your fellow coworker and you're trying to come up with different strategies and having your disagreements and things, you flush it out. But if at the same time you're also negotiating another job, you're like, my guy, just
the truth is with Edu. I feel you, but there are 3 things with Edu. One was Edu was Eddie's gonna make 2 or 3 times the money he's making at Arsenal.
Yeah,
So
three. Yeah.
he's gonna become the CEO of a footballing group that
Yep.
is backed by a billionaire that wants to spend money.
Yep.
So
It was
he
just
will,
up and up for him, man. There was
yeah, it's just up and
Hey,
up. So he
bro.
kind of
That's what
like
you gotta do.
he had so now he can manage 3 clubs and run Northern Forest and 2 other clubs. So he's all right. I mean, he's done
Yeah.
well for himself. So okay, now we're gonna jump quickly into us Chelsea because we've been on Arsenal for a
Mm.
while. What's happening with Enzo Fernandez? Your
nothing. It's
money
just
is just
it's
not good.
just there's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing.
This is
Which
the
is like,
shortest clip ever. Okay, nothing. Done.
no,
No, let's
okay.
move on. Let's move
No, no,
on.
no, no, no.
Okay.
We could throw some things inside here. Like today, like we've always had a conversation about who are the best midfielders in the Premiership. Pep always churns out like the Rodris, the Bernardo Silvas, KDB, and all those kind of guys, right? And you're like, man, Pep's got this thing. It's like a well-oiled machine. That's what we always say about Pep Guardiola and his teams, right? Well-oiled machine. And but he always gets the right pieces to complement each other. That has always been a thing. He always because when Bernardo Silva wasn't like that player every club was rushing now, like before he came to City, right? It wasn't like, I mean, we can take Kevin De Bruyne was a player that teams wanted to sign. He was in Chelsea, he left. Aside even Fernandinho, I don't know if he was like that sorted after until he became that crazy beast in City before he retired, right? From City. But for the best midfields in the Premier League and clubs, good midfields in the Premier League, you notice like there's a level of play they have. There's the very good defensive midfielders, there's a very good 6, then there are good 8s. Then there's always a complementing creative 10 that comes in and does the damage and all that kind of stuff. Today we saw the combinations of, permit me to use the word potential title winning or cup winning midfields. We're talking about Arsenal going for Declan Rice, spending all that kind of money for Declan, but they're also complementing him with Partey, and Odegaard is the creative guy. That's a solid midfield. That's a very solid midfield. The issue is when one of those guys drop, what happens? Do you go from output of like 90 percentile to like a 50 percentile kind of output? That's what Arsenal has to worry about. Chelsea, we finally had somewhat of a fit Lavia, somewhat Caicedo, and then we were struggling in the past. Is it a combination of Enzo with Caicedo? Is it Enzo and Lavia? Will it be Enzo Conor Gallagher? Was it Enzo Mason Mount? You know, all these things
Permutations.
permutations that will work. It was supposed to be the winning one. And the issue is the constant in all the shitty midfield Chelsea has ever had was Enzo. But this guy's a World Cup winner. This guy played with, Messi, so he could do no wrong. And he's that kind of big brand player from a big footballing country. That when a player from a small footballing country comes in, you just seem to that guy isn't that great, right? But Enzo, I don't think the Premier League suits Enzo personally. I think he's better suited in leagues like the Serie A or the Spanish league. If he goes to Barcelona or even what's it called, Real Madrid, he will ball. The league allows him to do the things he would like to do. You get. Does Enzo score goals from the midfield? Not really. He's not that great at it. Does Enzo win tackles? Not really. He's not that good at it. Does Enzo score goals or assists regularly? Average. At the end of the season, you're getting like 5 or like 3. That's a
so
fact.
what's it good at?
Nothing. That's the point. He's good at he's not that great at nothing, and that's the
Oh my
problem.
god!
When you spend 100 million on such a player, you start expecting outputs like Kante level outputs. You start expecting outputs like a CN level outputs. You start expecting outputs like Lampard, Ballack. No, this guy is not that player. I personally don't even think it suits him. You know what I mean? He's played also a lot of games before this manager came in. So, and I think this manager likes him. He's trying to force it. Enzo, Caicedo, and Lavia, because they're supposedly our best, or should I say most talented players. But do they complement each other? Not really. We've gone through this before. When we're playing Jorginho, Kovacic, and Kante, that was like worse than haram football. That was like shrine football, like Ogun, like Amadioha kind, like Ebo football. That's like some serious offering football, like witchcraft, because there was no creativity. They will win you the midfield. What next? They're not assisting. They're not threading ball through the line. They're not taking shots on goal. Kante at least tries. So when Kante leaves, you now see the Casey and Jojo partnership is horrible. That's Jorginho and Kovacic. We used to call them Casey and Jojo. Worst records ever. You just watch them like, what the heck is this performance? So those kind of things have made us, like, in the past, look like, okay, what we're used to: goal scoring midfielders, hard tackling midfielders, Zola-esque, which is what Palmer is doing right now. Where does Enzo fit? And honestly, nobody has an answer to that. Nobody has an answer to Enzo. He's not a bad player. Don't get me wrong. But where does he fit?
That's a big question.
You know, Caicedo is like the second coming of Kante. As long as he's not injured. Yeah. Lavia is, oh my God, Presley. Like, that kid is just insanely that good. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, there's another player Chelsea loaned out to Strasbourg, sister club. He's got 8 goals and 4 assists in the French league.
What's his name?
Santos, Brazilian kid.
Oh yeah, that's the
yeah. So that everyone is like, well, that one is scoring goals. Just bring it. At least he will take a shot. At least he will take a shot. You know, so Enzo is struggling with something. I don't know what it is. I feel for him. I criticize him a lot. I do not think he's a bad player. I think he's an average squad player. And when the chips are down, when the big boys play, you could see Enzo is struggling. You can see it.
Are you selling him in the summer or what?
I mean, we're hearing Real Madrid is asking for sure, man. Take the money. We have enough now. Like, and they also want to give us Tchouaméni. I will take it in a heartbeat. You know what?
Stop listening to football rumors.
It's a rumor.
Don't say Real Madrid is selling Tchouaméni to get Enzo Fernandez. Like, come on. Stop listening to Sports Bible football rumors.
It makes it just
because it's like even if Tchouaméni is not playing, he fits into that team far better than Enzo would.
It depends. Actually, if you go back and look at the last 10 games that I'm part of the ones that Tchouaméni has played, they've literally tied or lost the games that Tchouaméni has played. It's a weird thing. I actually went back and I was just looking at all their results with the games he played. And then the games he didn't play because he was injured for some time and they were just winning. I think Real Madrid with Mbappe coming in, they're looking for the balance. Enzo might work. I don't like distributing the ball, quick transitions. It might work. It's also a league where the press isn't that aggressive. It's not that.
Yeah, that's a key thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't for creative players like him, or should I say midfield players in the pocket, like to move, do unnecessary caressing of the ball. It works. In the Premier League, where after the first person you beat, somebody's coming studs up for you real quick, he seems to be struggling. And I don't know what it is. And meanwhile, the hard tackling midfielders are scoring goals and creating chances. Lavia, Caicedo. If Caicedo goes down, we have a serious problem at Chelsea. A serious problem.
I agree there, 100%.
Like it's we're talking about losing ball possession. Like we go literally from 90% down to 50%. Because they're going to overwork Lavia. We're going to try and put Enzo there. We're going to ask Enzo to do some of the things Caicedo and Lavia are doing. He's not going to win the ball. If the ball goes 50-50.
And Lavia seems to be a player that seems to be struggling with soft tissue injuries.
Exactly. But just limped out again today. Yeah. Unlike you guys with Saka that were like, oh, hope Saka comes back. Oh, Saka comes back all the time. I can't see that for Lavia.
Yeah, because he's been out for the whole of he was out for the whole of last year, right?
Yeah, man. As he limped off like that could just be like until
the end of the season. But he's a kid, though. He's a kid, so he will have time.
Yeah, and we have a lot of them like that. We have a lot of them like that in Chelsea, man. We got our captain, the captain of CP.
But what most impresses me about this whole Enzo situation, it's not the problem with Enzo, it's the manager, the way he handles.
How many managers? Stop it.
We've hold on. Let me.
We did Chelsea.
Let me land
okay.
before you. Like you're saying, how many managers? What I'm technically saying is this: that exactly. So many Chelsea managers have been with Enzo, or managers have been with Enzo, but they never dropped him. This guy just came in and went, okay, you don't fit into my team, and dropped him.
No, he dropped him. He
Mm-hmm.
dropped him after 4 games
Mm-hmm.
because the situation was, who would you get rid of? Would you get rid of Conor Gallagher or would you get rid of Enzo? They were diehard Chelsea stalwarts like us that believe in the academy boys having their chance, and if they've performed, you keep them as a squad player rather than actually sell them to balance the books, and then you get stuck with the likes of the $100 million players like Enzo. Are you with me? But
Yes.
as I know, Ray said he's not an accountant, he's not a finance guy. I'm not. Most of my guys, my friends that are finance guys that agree with that, to me, I think they're more intelligent. They understand we need to be within fair play. We sold, we make the money. But at the end of the day, right, when managers come in, they see Enzo, they see him in training, he's a quality player. But where does he fit? Because he's played under Graham Potter. He's played under like literally almost every coach till now. And Maresca is a different breed of a manager. You only got two fuck ups. You only got two fuck ups. You're straight on the bench. That's Maresca for you. Goalkeeper has been benched. Defenders have been benched. Our captains they've been lining up on bench. There's no time. He will back you. You will start, but should you give two woeful performances, you go straight to the bench. He doesn't have time for that. And he's told, for example, when he said he had a meeting with Sancho, he had a meeting with Noni, Neto, he had a meeting with all the wingers when Sterling left. He told all of them, all of you are going to play, and not all of you are going to play. It's kind of like all of you are going to play, and not all of you are going to play, which means we have all these competitions. So, guys, it's a rotation thing. And if you find yourself not playing consistently, it's a form thing at this juncture. So, I think that is why you've not seen Enzo in a while. It's because
No, but kudos to him for that, because many managers would have not. Because his form hasn't sucked only this season. His form has sucked for a while.
Since last season, exactly.
Yeah, and no one benched him. And then this time around, they benched him, and the team is playing better.
Yeah.
So kudos to the manager for that, because some managers at some clubs would be saddled with the weight of the transfer cost of that guy and trying to please the owner. Because I'm going to be very honest, what I believe is that the boss is out there looking, why are you making me look like an idiot? I spent 100 million on this guy. I'm paying him huge wages, and he's not playing. Like, exactly. You know how much this guy's costing me like 200K a week, and he's on the bench.
Exactly.
So Argentina superstar who's going to be selling me jerseys and all that. So the manager really make a bold decision, because if it didn't work out, guess who's getting fired?
And the thing is, I was surprised when they gave Enzo Maresca 5 years. All of us are just like, man, we entered one chance. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this guy just won at Leicester City. Why are we doing this? But when we saw the way he's coming, he's literally not played the way he played at Leicester City. He's literally just made the team more compact, enjoy the ball control, more tactical, playing pocket. We are not afraid to go long. And that's one thing we're shocked about.
Maresca got a 5-year contract because Maresca had all the chips in his hand, all the cards in his hand. He could dictate the terms of his contract. If you guys didn't want to give him a contract he wanted, it was that Leicester had a job. He was looking up. He could get another job. He had to dictate, and I think he was trying to make sure he protected his own financial interest. Because you guys are a sack happy club.
Of course,
if he was coming there and taking a 2 or 3 year contract, he wasn't being smart. Like,
no, but at the same time, I think, and you're right. I think also because he's been able to hold that down, allows him the leeway to make this decision that you're talking about, the 100 million pound player. Like, you know what? I tried. Modric, the boy wanted to kill us with hypertension. I was like, the Carney's on the bench. I mean, I have this soft spot for Nigerian children playing in European clubs. I'm outrightly racist and biased about it. I have no shame. If it's a Nigerian child that is playing, 100% support. I'm really sorry. Like, I don't care. If you sub him for a Modric, you are going to see me all over social media shouting, hey, play racist card up and down. Like, because like I'm fully against it. But the thing also is, when Modric had the same issue, other jokes aside, Modric had the same issue, we would get rid of Noni for him. We would try to figure out how to rotate last two managers. This time, Baba Brain was not clicking in the first 2-3 games. Dropped him. Noni Madueke came and played his game. He's shone. Everybody's like, hey, but sometimes Noni is stingy. No, Noni goes back and forth. He covers the players properly, gives good balance. He scores goals. He's allowed to shine. He's winning his name in the starting lineup. Same thing with Neto. Sancho is also started when he came in, giving us a lot of outlets. Play way better than we could ever ask from Sterling. Assisting as much as possible. He stalled in 2 games. Off to the bench, brother. Not personal, and he manages the dressing room well. So all the players understand they're going to play. They might not just play on the first team in the Premier League. They might play in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup that we got knocked out, or the Conference League. You will play, and there's an expectation that you win, and there's an expectation to give a good output. If you don't, you're not playing in the Premier League. So that really helps with the players, and we've seen a lot of them come back more relaxed, more leaner, and more focused. So I think he's managing the squad very well. With Enzo, I just don't know what we should do with him.
Yeah, it's very good to see clubs that their managers are doing well. Or their clubs are doing okay. You know what I mean? So now we're going to talk about another club that is not doing well. I don't know why I added this topic, but at least it's not depressing. So we're just going to spend a quick few minutes on this because we're already out of time. It's another new dawn at Manchester United. It seems like this happens every few years now. You know, the problem with this is that every time they say this is the one, and so I'm being very cautiously optimistic. He's a young guy, but Manchester United is not Sporting. Manchester United is not Arsenal or Chelsea, with all due respect. It's not even Man City, with all due respect. The weight of the club is heavy. It's one of those clubs that, you don't even know where to start because the fans might be patient. They're very good fans, but they also have a high expectation, especially with Liverpool and Man City doing very well. You're looking at their arch rivals going to either win. One of them is going to win the league, and they've been dominating for the past few years. And so it's a club that really, really wants to, come out of this thing. And it's very easy for hope to turn to despair because of the situation exactly. And
correct point of correction. It's a club that the fans really want to. Not your owner. It's not a club that wants to be successful. It's a club.
No, I was talking about the fans. It was the fans. Forget the owners.
I cannot reconcile that to the owners.
No. Forget the owners. Forget the owners. I don't even want to talk about the owners. The owners are not necessary. There's no need. So it's a weird thing to be here again because, there's less said about ETH, the better, because in the past 3 seasons, ETH has spent everybody in Europe 600 and something million pounds for you're calling Chelsea or Arsenal or whatever. Somebody said something about haram football, or you were talking about Manchester United when you were saying that.
Yeah, I was saying Manchester United is never playing haram football. You guys are playing like village shrine football.
I'm telling you, this is a full bunch offering. Nice.
The gods will be upset.
No. If you come into any place with the spirit, you will be exercised immediately if you come with that kind of football. Oh my God, no. So it's very sad to be here because there's nothing you can say to explain it. But at least we're here. We didn't have to get relegated. And the positives about it is I actually looking at the table and I started laughing. And why I was laughing was there's been so much talk about Tottenham and Andy Ball. And this haram Manchester United that everybody's talking so negatively about is 1 point behind Spurs. Arsenal has the meanest defense in the league, or one of the meanest defenses in the league. They're supposed to be a top defensive side. They have the best centre backs in the league, quote unquote. They've conceded the same amount of goals as this openly, everybody calls them, that midfielder freeway. Same amount of, so there's so many positives that a good manager can work with. That's just all I'm saying. I'm not
So
trolling
is the positive like Arsenal struggling and Manchester is not that much worse? Is that a positive?
No, what I'm technically saying is that us Manchester United are supposedly so bad,
Mm.
right? Like the people are saying they're so bad, they're terrible, they're this and that, but they're not far away. They're not far away from other
It's
teams. If you
it's
get what I'm
deceiving.
saying,
It's
because this is
deceiving.
technically our worst football. It's not like we're playing close to our top. We're not even playing close to our best, and yet we're not far away from the others. We're very close to Aston Villa, who everybody's been praising. Like 1 or 2 wins. So
Like,
that's a positive as far as I'm concerned, because we could have been 7 or 8 points behind these guys. It would have been a tall order to chase them down. Right, this moment, top four is still a possibility. I'm not saying it will happen, but it's still a mathematical possibility given the amount of games played.
I see what I see what you're saying.
you see,
So I'm trying to
everybody's
like
like this house of
yeah,
horror. How do we help them? Very
I,
dysfunctional bunch of family members there.
yeah. I mean, obviously, like you have to hope, right? So obviously, you have to have belief in a new, fresh start every
Really stop
couple
that
of years.
rubbish.
Hey, I'm just saying he has to have the hope. So I get it. Like I don't like. So it's kind of like if they were maybe 10 points behind these teams. I understand what he's talking about, but also I don't think that's a good metric because these teams are not doing that well. So it's not really a metric for me to be like, oh, that's a good sign. But I hear what you're saying is like other people also struggling. So you might just if we can just get your shit together, you sort of get yourself back there. I kind of hear what you're saying. But I just think we're going to be in the same situation in United in 2 years again. I think because what's going to be different? Like you kind of hinted earlier about like the owners, and I'm sure there's a lot there. But what's going to happen? So is he going to perform magic with the squad as it is? Is he going to gut the squad? Is he going to get rid of Xerxes that he just signed? Like, what is going to be different? Or is he
Okay,
going to spend another 600 million?
let me
What's
answer
going to
your
be different?
questions quickly. Let me
Yeah,
answer your question
yeah,
quickly. Okay,
yeah,
this is the one thing that's very important that
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think. Now, I'm not trying to make excuses for them or give them an alibi, but there's a new secondary owner, there's a new chairman, and a new director of football who only started in the last 5 months. They haven't really been at the club that long, so they haven't had the time to put a stamp on the club. This is their first real appointment of a manager. Some of the signings, even though Zexi doesn't look that good, but Zexi is not a top, money buy. He's an average money buy. It was only 30 odd million pounds. So the wages. One good thing they've done with wages in the past few years is that they've put it on a downward trend. So it's kind of easier to get rid of some of the players if they need to get rid of them. But like using Zexi as an example and Hoyland as an example, they're at the lower beginning stages of their careers because they're kind of young. Hoyland, I think, is 21. Zex is maybe 22. And Zex is not a superstar. So he's not a guy that I think would have problems with playing off the bench. And there's so nothing wrong if this guy comes, for example, and goes, okay, I'm coming from sports and get me Goycrest, and Goycrest comes. This two, because you can see the club needs another striker. You can see that there's still other things that are needed, and the good thing about gotten the squad is a lot of contracts are actually coming to an end. A lot of people have not gotten new contracts, so a lot of people the next 2 seasons, a lot of people's contracts are falling off. So apart from the guys that were bought by
You have a lot to go
ETH,
off your books.
a lot of people are getting off the book. So that might help with gutting the squad per se. So even though ETH signed a lot of players, some of the players that ETH, because ETH was there, this is his third season. Some of the players that he signed are actually going to be getting off the books in the next 2 seasons. Because some of them came only on 3. Like Gasimir only has a 3-year contract. Maguire is almost done. I think Maguire is in the last year of his contract. Maguire should have been sold. There was nobody wanting him, and so he stayed. So we might get a situation where some of these guys are moved on. Maguire, Dalot, Evans is going. Ericsson is gone. Casemiro is almost gone. So you're looking at about 6 or 7 players that are going to be leaving the squad. So that might make it easier to gut the squad. Whoever comes into Manchester United now will have open books, some open spots by the summer.
When you see whoever, it's not the Amorim guy that is coming.
No, I'm just saying, Amorim is coming in, so Amorim has open books, open slots in the summer. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's also coming into a league where big names, titans are falling, man. Like it's a league of the gods. If I'm going to start speaking in parables and like in art, the Premier League is unforgiving. There's a reason why people spend their money here. It's like going to watch the Kentucky Derby and watch like the finest of horses running, like at full thread and at beauty gallop, like not just some ugly looking horse, beautiful genetically made horses and modified, and they're fast. You know what I mean? Like they're very fast. And it's stuff of legend in the Premier League. You're going to go up against tactical managers from different disciplines and beliefs. You're talking about managers like Nuno. Nuno's job is to stifle you till death, take wind out of its conquest, like just vacuum the air out. You're not even talking haram at this point. Life support. He has
there's no living, nothing living around here.
He just comes and takes our soul. Like, like you're coming or you're not coming. If you make it pass, you have testimony. And now they have fought. Are they fought? Yeah, they fought, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, fifth.
Yeah, no, fifth.
After
right?
they're fought.
They're fought. The fifth. And where was Nottingham Forest last year? You understand what I mean, right?
I think there was 17 to 16.
Something, So he comes in and he puts the shift. And Nottingham Forest is a better financed club than his last gig in Wolves. So he's a problem, right? And then you have the likes of Maresca wanting to make their name, who are like, they call them Temu Peps, right? Mm-hmm. Arteta, same thing. Pep is still there, right? And then you have this guy coming for Liverpool, Slot. I didn't know he was going to be this good, but they already had a well-oiled machine. He didn't tinker too much. He just kept it simple, kept it compact. Kind of same thing Maresca is doing. So everybody that has been hyped in their father's house, right? Ah, my little princess, you're so amazing. You're very smart. Like my join your meet. Come to the Premier League and you meet mad people. You know what I mean? You come and you meet mad people and you're like, do they have two heads? No, but bodies will drop. Because that's the nature of the beast, right? Manchester United, with the new ownership, I do think are poised to do good things. Now, if they are smart, they would look at what is happening. The likes of Chelsea and Arsenal, and in some other clubs like Everton, how not to be. In fact, they will even look at themselves. How not to run transition in a club, Manchester United. Very huge.
Why do you have to look outside?
Outside, it's like how not to. You know what I mean? Yes. How to better run the club. Everybody's looking at the likes of Brighton. Everybody's looking at the likes of Southampton. How this guy is surviving and identifying the right players and bringing them in, running a profit. They will. I think if not to the last breath, ETH played himself out of the job, in my own opinion. Right? A lot of things had to have gone wrong for them to have fired him because Manchester United is not a happy fire club as much as most of us want to say it is. But now, looking around them, I think there's a template of what they're going to try and do. And as you said, if after this season, Amorim will be able to identify the kind of players he wants, as long as they're not going happy-lucky trying to sign everybody. You know what I mean? But he will still struggle. He's a young coach. Brighton manager is just very young. He's just running amok. I'm just going to give him like midway through the season, a couple of injuries, and everybody will catch up.
So why you not say the thing about the Liverpool manager?
He will be found out. But he's also very experienced.
Maybe after he's won the league.
If he doesn't run away with it, I think Liverpool is weirdly very. It's funny nobody's saying Liverpool is a defensive team. It's very funny nobody's saying Liverpool is a defensive team.
Full counter-attacking team.
You see what I'm saying, right?
The transition team. Let me put it
exactly.
Yeah, they win the ball and create a goal. That's what they do. Win the ball, create a goal.
Yep.
Exactly. And it's very interesting. Nobody's saying like that's it's a very different. They're not too far from what they were doing before. Let's be very honest. On the club was never really a possession kind of football. They're just more clinical this time. And they're letting very fewer goals. And it's also based on their structure. They're not exposing the weakest part of their teams, and they're taking advantage of Salah's potency. It's He's going to come. He's going to come and learn. Amorim is going to come and he's going to come and learn. Last. That's how I used to look at the Premier League. We've seen the brightest of managers look like dummies when they come here. So, as I said, he will jam Nuno. He will jam Stoke on the wet. he will jam Stoke on the wet Saturday night. Avia days to say, can he do this in a wet?
On a wet night.
Tuesday.
So he will come and jam all those spirits people. At the end of the season, is he tactically that good? I heard he's very good. They're claiming he's the next Mourinho. I mean, from what he's done, amazing. Will it translate in the Premier League? I don't know. I really don't know.
Time will tell. That's one good thing about life is, it either proves us wrong or it proves us right. There's very few times it sits in between. It likes to be very, very clear. So we will know. Another good thing
everybody has a plan to get punched in the face.
Exactly. But that's another good thing about football and boxing too, is that even if you get punched in the face and you get knocked out, you can stand up and knock somebody out in the next fight. You can always keep trying. The minute you lose in football is when you stop trying. Because what I'm technically saying is that there was a time 3-4 years ago when we were writing Chelsea off. And look at where they are. There was a time 5 years ago when we were writing Arsenal off, or maybe 7 years ago when we were saying, how low can Arsenal go? We were looking at them as a Europa League team. They're going to be 8th place forever. Now, the advantage Manchester United has over most teams in the Premier League, and actually most teams in Europe, is that for some reason that I cannot put my hand on, we are like the Dallas Cowboys of football. We are the team people love to hate or people love. There's few people that are in between. We're always going to be on TV. Always going to be talked about. So for that reason, they're always going to make money. Because I always point out to the fact that despite struggling to play any good football or do anything in the past 11 seasons, this club still comes in the top 3, top 4, top 5 of the money-making clubs in Europe. And imagine if Manchester United had won the trophies Man City won in the past 4-5 years, or in the past 10 years, they'll be the first club to make $1.5 billion a season. Easily. Real Madrid are not making as much money as they would if they were Manchester United. So they seem to have that advantage of being able to make money. And like you said, football is about money. It means that they're able to invest money. They can find money from somewhere and put into the squad. So that might be the advantage that they have. And because the truth about it is they will keep trying. They will keep trying until they get it right. It might not be as fast as I want, but it will have to be fixed because eventually, you get it right. It might be luck. It might just be something else. You might just luckily get a director of football that is a genius, which is actually what happened with Liverpool. With all the stuff, the system of Liverpool is basically Michael Edwards and Klopp coming at the same time. But Michael Edwards now running it. Oh, get another Alex Ferguson, or another Pep, get him and just revolutionizes the club. But they will keep trying. They have no choice.
I think a minority owner is determined to make Manchester United successful. There was an interview I saw after one of his sailing championship, because he owns a few sports teams, sailing, and they asked him, are you gonna transfer this winning formula to Manchester United? He said the difference between a football club and a sail team is quite huge. You need the right squad to win in football. Sailing, you can get away with technology, you can get away with decent crew members and stuff like that. He said you need the right team to win. And that makes me now believe that, I don't think the first instinct was to fire ETH. I really think they were buying what he was selling, but the results just didn't go his way. And I think they just pounced on this Amorim.
Dude, why do you say that? They approached Amorim and guys at the summer. They only didn't fire this guy because
No, they tried. Everybody was trying to. Remember, Chelsea was in the market too for coaches, and Amorim was among the names that were mentioned.
But they
Then
approached
we ended up,
Amorim, they approached the former Brighton manager who was at Marseille. They approached
De
Southgate.
Zerbi. Everybody was, but they stayed with ETH. There must have been a reason why. Like the results haven't been getting bad. It wasn't today. You understand? Like it
Fair
just
enough,
got,
fair enough.
so. And I really do think that like is it Ineos or what do you guys call them? Like the small
Ineos.
Ineos. I really do think they just got to the point where they're just like, okay, we really need to pivot at this point. And it's a defining moment for the minority ownership because they're in charge of the footballing things. And based on what I heard in that interview from him, if you notice when they say, "Are you going to fire?" Every interview that you see, "Are you going to fire?" ETH, you will say that's not his decision. It's the director of football, right? I really think DNA is to keep the institution and not throw their guy under the bus. But it just the results were not just happening. And for Ruud van Nistelrooy to have this result, I really think a lot was going behind the scenes for them to have like cut the umbilical cord. I don't think they're just a trigger happy kind of like ownership group.
Yeah, well, you don't need to tell anyone a lot was going on beyond, behind the scenes. It was very crazy because at the point this guy was just coming to interviews and press conferences and just telling us BS. It was quite obvious that this job was like you can tell the manager is about to be fired from the way he handles his press conference. I was talking, like I didn't want to talk about depressing stuff, so I just best thing that happened to us last week was new Manchester United manager beat Pep, humbled him. But problem is that Pep now and Man City might not have a problem with Manchester United next time we meet because it might be the revenge tour. But who knows? Maybe we've gotten into their heads. I remember when Ole used to play here and Ole was always beating Pep. He might just take that, get into his head and he said, how Pep sometimes gets that stinkery. So he might become obsessed with beating this guy and never beat him. But who knows? All I'm saying is let's do top 6 predictions. We're 10 games in, and then you will see what I'm saying. Because let me hold my thought. So we're about to round up, and this is our final one. We have overshot by almost 20 minutes. So we're going to do a quick 1 minute for everyone. You don't have to explain unless you have a hot take in there. What's your top 6 predictions? Idris, I'll start with you.
I still think the big boys will end up first 3. I don't want to believe Liverpool will win it. It's kind of odd. New manager, new winning. I think that was like Jose Mourinho's time. I still think Liverpool will be found out because they haven't made any crazy signings to be able to be like, oh, this is why they are improving. You know what I mean? Yes. So I would say, but I'll still give Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. I don't want to jinx Chelsea. I'll put Chelsea at 5th, 6th because that's what I initially predicted.
You have to put positions. We're just saying top 6. So
top 6. Okay, top 6. Okay, yeah. I'll go with top 6. Okay, Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea. Newcastle, Villa, Chelsea.
That's 6.
6. Yeah, I'm comfortable with those. I think I mentioned Manchester United, right?
No, you said Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Villa, Newcastle. That's your top 6.
Yeah.
All right. So nothing hot in there.
No, nothing. It's they're mostly established players, established clubs that are now financially well backed.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Ray, what's your top 6?
I know I was trying to find a hot take, but honestly, like I can't see anything.
Reality sets in real quick. We just talked about the depressing United, so I can understand.
Honestly, I can't find any. Seriously, like exactly that. Aston Villa.
Do you know who I think might sneak into top 6 and disrupt the entire thing? Is Brighton and Nottingham Forest.
Brighton.
They may. If I told somebody I expect Chelsea to finish 6th, and everybody was like, "Oh, they're playing very well." No. Like, if they are the only reason I'm mentioning Chelsea is because they've been consistent. We know where they are lacking, We know where they are not lacking and how they've been moving. Not like we have these serious highs, 10 straight wins, 10 straight unbeaten. Then all of a sudden we get 10 straight no results. Like we don't have that. But like with the likes of like Forest, they will get points out of people. Brighton, they will get points out of the top six, and that messes up everything. That's and Newcastle is struggling. Yeah, so I expect this.
So take out Newcastle and put Brighton.
Or Nottingham Forest because of the experience of the coach.
Okay, so it's Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Chelsea, and Brighton or Nottingham Forest.
The Forest, yeah. That's right, the wild card, guys.
Okay, Ray.
Okay, so I guess I have to do a hot take. Like normally I would have the same six from before. But honestly, I think it's hard, man. It's hard for me too, but I can't see any other team, honestly. Like, I'm looking at the table. Not Tottenham, not Brentford, not Bournemouth. They've had their moment. Not United, unfortunately. Again, top six. So I would say the same: City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa, Chelsea, Newcastle. I mean,
Ray does not see a ray of sunshine on any.
I don't. Forest just lost to Newcastle at home today, right? 3-1, or was it yesterday?
Yeah, 3-1. Today.
And then Brighton, we've seen honestly, again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Brighton, but I've seen better Brightons under De Zerbi, and they still didn't make top six. So again, this team's always start good. We're honestly only 11 games into the season. A lot of the usual people are struggling. It's not like they're playing well. These guys are also on fire. They're struggling. Eventually, Arsenal will figure their stuff out. It will play on exactly your point. Chelsea's more consistent. So I think they've kind of like, okay, there's a bit of consistency there. I don't see, honestly, those guys will get points off, but I think Villa too. I think Emery, he likes his Europe, so he'll make sure they're there by force, even if they end up in sixth in Europa. So if we wanted to do like who's winning and all that, then we can get some hot takes. But I think top six is.
You're talking Amorim from like when he takes over from United.
No, Emery.
Yeah, so Unai Emery. I'm saying Unai Emery. Like he likes his European Cup, so they'll always get.
Going to be in the thick of things.
They're going to be in there. Yeah. So I know. I honestly try to get a hot take, but I don't see it.
Like, there is no ray of sunshine in some of these.
My own hot take is very, very straightforward.
Tell us, United.
The top six last week,
that would be a hot take.
Exactly. That's my hot take. Take out Spurs from last season's top six and add Manchester United to it. So it's Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea, Manchester United. Manchester United are crashing the top six. There's a chance they'll crash the top four.
Hey, top four.
Yes, that's
with all due respect, we wanted to ask you off the medication.
only 4 points away.
Bro, it's 11 games. Away.
It's 11 games.
It's literally 4 points. That's what I'm saying.
It's literally when we come back from these international breaks, shit really hits the fan. And you think,
whoa.
So,
I mean, that's a hot take. That is
it's a hot take, though. Like, clip this.
Clip that, please.
Clip
it. Top four, you said.
And if I'm right, we're going to play back at the end of the season. We'll repost it again and again and again. Because, as I keep pointing out, despite all the poor metrics, there's two things that gives me confidence.
Okay.
One, United are among the top 3 in big chances created this season, despite not scoring that many goals. They've created almost as many big chances as City and Co. I mean, I can look at it and tell you what the exact number is. Okay, now, number two is what I just pointed out, that despite being in such bad form, I mean, such bad form that a manager was fired, a manager who just got a new contract was fired. These guys are only 4 points away from top 6. The most consistent Manchester United player this season has been their goalkeeper. That means there's a lot of room for improvement. Big chances created. Manchester United are now 9th, but at a point a few games ago, they were in the top 5. And the gap between, by the way, between the 4th and Manchester United position is about 2 or 3 chances. So there's a lot of chances in that team. There's a lot of goals in that team. It's just for a manager that can
I hate to
enhance
be the
it.
guy that says this to you, bro.
Top
You
four.
sound like the Democratic Party's pollsters before this last election. They were saying this. What?
I drank my own Kool-Aid. Don't worry.
Okay. Should I read you?
I'm sorry, I just had to.
Let me just read you United's next 6
games
fixtures in the Premier League. I don't care about the other ones. Ipswich, okay, at Ipswich, okay. Everton at home, so okay. Arsenal at Emirates,
loss.
Nottingham Forest, that we all okay. Man City at Etihad,
loss.
Tottenham.
No, Tottenham is League Cup.
Oh yeah, sorry, League Cup, yeah, and then Bournemouth, they've been playing pretty well. So okay. I'm just saying that it's not end of the world. Yeah, you can win 2.
But the other 3 you mentioned, bruh, they would have. Amorim has to do something we've never seen.
Hey, top 4.
Like play 1-1-1, 10 up front.
That's a hot take. Top 4. Top 6, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see.
Top 4 is
top 4. Right? That's a hot take.
It's a hot take. Ipswich, Everton, Forest, Wolves, they're looking like wins. Bournemouth is a win.
Arsenal
City, we could get a win or draw one of those games.
And I'm assuming you're saying this because of the new coach that's coming in.
No, I'm saying it from what I've seen in the team playing the past 4 games. It's a different team. The team is kind of shifted. The shadow of this manager has left. In the past 4 games, this team's got 11 goals. 11 goals. I know they were not very strong teams that they played, but in the past, Chelsea would have whooped us. That Chelsea game they would have whooped us. This Leicester game would have been a 1-goal lucky win. We would have not whooped POK. Like, these things show you that if the manager comes, and I'm trying to have confidence in my boys, I have confidence in my manager. If he comes and performs some magic, we don't need to win the league. We just need to win 3 out of every 4 games.
We need to get close. That top 4 was a little too close, man.
Just
too close.
No problem, man. It's right there. It's touchable, man. All we need to do is whoop Chelsea, whoop Newcastle, whoop Villa.
We are saying whoop.
Just
1-0 win is a
whoop. Of course.
1-0 win is
just
a
like
whoop.
that.
It's a
Just
whoop.
like that. Okay.
Okay.
And Arsenal fans, you're not that in such great form.
I will not disrespect us now. As much as I just think they will never be champions of Europe. They will never sing that in their life. They will never be champions of Europe. But I'll still give them their props. I think they're still stuttering. To think, though, that might somehow translate to United entering 6th.
No, he said 4. Not even
4th.
6th, I can understand.
Bro,
4.
Your team is so disjointed right now. And I think 11 games in. So how many games out? That's like
27 games to go.
Baba, no, man. They can kill your self-esteem in another 5.
You know how many points are left in the season?
It's a lot still.
It's 81
points. 81 points.
81, right? Yeah.
81
Bro, in
points.
5 games. In 5
that
games.
tells you what I'm saying, man.
Well, in 5
81
games,
points. What is 4?
Your bounce can result in tears, serious tears in 5 games.
You see, you either gamble or you lose.
That's like 15 points lost. If you go bam, 5 games, no win.
There's no look. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's no bam. No. This team is going to win 3 out of every 4 games for the rest of the season.
What?
Yeah.
That's a hot take number 2.
What?
Yeah, I'm kind of really confident.
I like it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Are you a gambling man? Let me know where I'm putting my bets. If I go to Vegas with you, we are sure losing money because they're going to have to invest.
If you were gambling, I would have told you to bet on Trump. I would have told you to bet on Trump, but you didn't ask me. So,
but yours, I just don't see the data points for winning though. I just don't see it. You just also said it. Like, you have to get rid of a lot of players.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they're all bad players.
No, but that's not what we're saying. You have
for
to
example,
find balance.
Maguire, the much maligned Maguire, a fan always points out that that's one of the best ball playing defenders. I'm not saying it's
in the
best
way
defender.
in
One of the best
Manchester,
ball
definitely
players
not in the league.
in the league.
In
He's
Manchester,
actually
not
a
in the
very
league.
good ball player.
Oh my
You've
God!
got, you've got Mazraoui, who's been a revelation as a right back.
And
You know, if Luke Shaw comes back, and Luke Shaw, if he can come back and stays,
bro, you just call, you're calling.
Luke Shaw.
I'm
Oh,
just
right.
saying, yeah, he's coming back. Luke Shaw.
Is,
If he comes back,
Euro back? Euro back, the kid? Is that the right? That French?
yeah,
guy?
Europe will be back after the international break.
That's when you guys are smoking on something. I don't see top
Meno is coming back after the international break. There's, you know.
You know what? I would love to always talk to you every week, and you're a very optimistic guy. I really appreciate your optimism.
I'm not always very optimistic.
We will switch
As a matter
your
of
name
fact,
Ray.
if you know
You
me,
truly have the ray of sunshine. Ray's a doomsday guy.
This is one of those times when I feel I have a hunch and I'm going with my hunch. I'm usually on the downer. I'm just having this hunch and I'm going with it. So it's nothing more than that.
That's the thing. I don't know if you're banking on the new manager or you're banking on the squad. The squad is very imbalanced. You already know.
I've looked at stats. I've looked at games. I've looked at stats. I've watched a lot of Manchester United games, and I looked at stats. And this is what I'm expecting.
But the same thing happened with Chelsea. Chelsea has had a lot of XG in the last 2 years. We ended up 7th, 6th, 7th. So that's why I'm not
also remember that Chelsea were very bad last season and ended up almost getting 4th.
No, 7th.
Yes. No, Chelsea were 6th last season.
6th.
Yes, Chelsea were 6th. Newcastle were 7th. Manchester United
yeah,
was
so
8th.
Yeah, okay, yeah, my bad. Chelsea was 6th last season. That's why we ended up in the conference.
Yes.
Europa. But even then,
And let me tell you that despite how bad Chelsea were, Chelsea finished.
But Newcastle
5 or 6 points shit the top 4.
Newcastle shit the bed that made us pip them.
Yes, but that's the point of the league. That's what I'm trying to tell you is that if you are consistent for 3 or 4 months in this league, it makes a big difference. And there's so many games left that of all these top teams, you can only say that only Liverpool have been very consistent. And if Liverpool stays consistent, we know Man City are going to get consistent. Arsenal, we're not sure of. We don't, because why I'm saying we're not sure of Arsenal is we don't know what Arsenal's problem is, because Arsenal is supposed to play far better than they are playing now. So they could get consistent anytime. They might not. It might be something broken there that might not be fixed before the end of the season, or it might not be fixed until it's too late, in that they might have this in different form, but they're still a good team. But if they get consistent, we know those 3 teams are taking it. But on the rest of the teams, the gap is not so much that the most consistent of Newcastle, Villa, Chelsea, Manchester United will get the 4th position. The gap is not so much that what I'm saying sounds crazy. I have looked at the teams. Aston Villa look much different than they were last season. They have become yo-yo. Newcastle have been yo-yo for a very long time. Even from when they got into the top 4, they were lucky to get into the top 4. Last season, they were yo-yo. This season, they're still yo-yo. Chelsea, we are not sure what Chelsea is yet. So I am not disrespecting anyone. I'm just saying, if I was going to make a bet that wins me big money, I'll bet on Manchester United. If I lose, I lose. But that's the bet there. And that's where I'm bet. So that's where I'm putting my bet on.
Top 4 is
I'm just saying that we will make top 6. I'm almost.
You said top 4. You said top 4.
I
don't start changing.
Hold on. I'm not changing it. And I believe we will make top 4.
I'll give him credit. He did say top 6, but
then eventually you kept adding
top 4. Because now I was looking at So I'm still thinking they will struggle getting into top 6. It's doable for them. Every reason you made is clear for me for them to make 6th, 7th. No doubt. 4 though. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know, because you're changing
let me tell
management.
you why. The biggest mistakes teams will make against Manchester United, not the big teams, the smaller teams, the biggest mistakes they will all make is this. They will play Manchester United like the same Manchester United they were playing before. They will play us without respect. They will play an open game.
I don't know, man. I
we'll
think
pick them up for that.
You're not giving these small teams credit enough. I
No,
know,
no,
I get it. You're excited, I get it, but
no. I'm not saying it's not about not giving them
Okay.
credit. I've seen teams come like when they play Man City, they would go defensive, try and be compact and all of that.
Yeah.
And when they play Arsenal, they play the same kind of game. They, limit chances and try and take one or two chances. We play an Everton, we play an Ipswich, we play a Wolves. They're all coming at us. Like they're pressing, they're trying to come out like no respect. Mm-hmm. That would actually end up playing in these teams' favor because one, this team has the potential to be one of the best counter-attacking teams because if Bruno Fernandez gets his head straight, he drops great passes for counters. Two, this team has players that all they need to do is get somebody to get into their headspace and make them play well. Once they get into that headspace and they can play well, there are gems in this team. For all we say, get Garnacho playing consistently. Get Rashford just playing a little bit better. Ahmad is already playing well. Get Meno going again. Your Mazraoui is already looking very good. Onana is in great form. Get Højlund chances to score. You just need to feed him balls. Create a system where these guys get chances. They will score. Keep it compact. You see the new Ugarte-Casemiro partnership. Keep it going for a while. Keep it compact. Just like you went with getting Lavia and Caicedo, that's what I'm saying. It might not be what I say, because everything we say is a guesswork. But I believe that we looked at these teams and go, what's the difference between us and them? It's just a matter of a system and players having belief. Nothing more. They don't have so much better players than we do. They don't. With all due respect. I'm not disrespecting anyone when I say that. Chelsea's full of a bunch of kids. I'm not saying those kids are not good. Some of the best players in the Premier League are in that team. Aston Villa is doesn't have great players per se. They just have a great team ethic. Newcastle is one of the most confusing teams in the world. One day they're looking like they can beat anyone. The next day they look like, what is this team? So why can't we compete with them?
That's factual.
Yeah, so I've thought about it long and thought about it hard, and I will make up for. Quote me on that.
You heard it first here.
Yeah, you heard it first right here.
Go.
Yeah, on November 10th, 2024. So come May 2025, you can come and pull this video. EJ, clip this. All right, guys. We've been here for a while. It's been 1 hour, almost 1 hour and 40 minutes. There's going to be a lot of work to do to edit this video, but I want to thank all of you that, watching, all the people that commented. I want to thank you, Ray, Idris, for coming on. It was a great conversation. I would wish your teams well, but I wouldn't mean it. So
likewise.
I know the feeling is mutual. So let's just respectfully say no love lost, and I hope you all have a good week. See you next time, folks.
All right,
bye.
Take care. Easy.
You're watching Footy Fantasy. It is your city thing go reach your football needs. Banter from rivalries, he sure you go receive. From EPL to Champions League, your eyes go see. It's Footy Fantasy. You're watching Footy Fantasy. Footy Fantasy. It is your city thing go meet your football needs. Your football needs. Banter from rivalries.